numbers are staggering. More than 55 million people around the world are living with dementia. And 10 million new cases are diagnosed every year. You think it may be time that we start paying attention and take some action? Yes. Good morning. So nice to see so many familiar faces here. I'm here today to share with you some important facts and what actions we must take against dementia. I will also share with you how you can determine and reduce your risk factors, prevent or slow down dementia, and what we can do together to break the silence. I will also share highlights of the initiatives taken to offer support to those dealing with dementia through our organization, Lakeside Daybreak Dementia Support. So Phil already explained that, this is what we're going with, but I think maybe we need to do a fundraising campaign to have the proper equipment. So for those presentations where slides are important, it may be helpful. I don't want to throw this on the floor, but the moment it became obvious that dementia had sneaked into our home over 15 years ago, I made it my mission to learn more, help create awareness, try to remove the stigma around the disease, and work with others to make Lakeside a dementia-inclusive community. I enrolled in various courses on the topic, and I will share some of my findings with you. Raise your hand if you know someone who is dealing with dementia. Well, it's pretty well every person, isn't it? That's scary. The good news, only 1% of those over 65 with normal age-related memory issues will get dementia. However, today, 2 to 8% of all dementia cases are seen at a much earlier age, as low as 30. You may have heard of mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. This condition could eventually lead to dementia, but only 10 to 20% of people older than 65 with MCI will develop dementia within a year. But the risk can be reduced. It's alarming that 1/3 of the population is living with some form of undiagnosed dementia. We tend to believe that if our parents or grandparents had dementia, we will get it as well. The majority of the dementia cases, however, are not inherited by children or grandchildren. One of the most significant genetic risk factors is a gene called APOE4. About 25% of people carry one copy of APOE4, and 2 to 3% carry 2 copies. Inheriting these genes does not mean a person will develop the disease. However, if both parents carry these genes, the risk will increase. But only rarer types of dementia have a stronger genetic link. But these are only a very tiny proportion of overall cases. Scientists are now offering blood tests for biomarkers of Alzheimer's. This will mean much earlier detection of the disease. And there's still a little bit of concern about that because some people just don't want to know. But I figure if you know, you can take some actions, as you will learn today. We're often told dementia cannot be cured and is not reversible. Based on recent studies, however, some forms of dementia can be prevented and reversed. And I'm not talking about a magic pill. Several doctors have documented cases of dementia that were reversed. And there's more evidence for hope. But much depends on the type of dementia. And there's well over 100 of those. Yes, I am aware our population is aging, which will have a huge effect on the increase in numbers. But aging does not mean dementia. Many factors contribute to this disease. My mom turned to be 96, and she was as sharp as a tack. So I hope I have her genes. Memory loss also necessarily doesn't mean dementia. Depression, stress, urinary tract infection, brain injuries, and other illnesses. Even the medication that you take may cause memory loss. I recently learned how statins can cause significant memory decline. However, if the decline is due to a stroke or brain injury, it's usually permanent. Over the past 15 years, scientists and doctors have noticed slower cognitive decline among seniors who followed a healthy lifestyle. I encourage you, I don't know if you can see this, but the documentary is very informative. It's called Memories for Life. And I think there's a link on the handout of that as well. To better understand the work related to reversing this cognitive decline, I encourage you to watch that. Dr. Bredesen is an expert in this field. After 15 years of hitting brick walls, his findings are finally being accepted. His theories are now recognized by the World Health Organization, as well as the Alzheimer's Society. Today, it's reasonable to claim that dementia can be reversed and prevented, at least in the next generation. Remember? Remember? No. He's going to turn me on again. I like to do it this way. I like to do it my way. Are we good now? You hear me again? Okay, so we were talking about reversing dementia. Remember that once we thought that we could not reverse artery clogging plaque that triggered heart disease?
The microphone is too close to your mouth.
No, it isn't.
Wait.
I already adjusted it.
Oh,
Thank
no.
you.
Now we can't hear you.
Oh, can't freeze. Where were we? You now got me right off track. But I'm good. Similarly, dementia can be reversed if caught early enough and by addressing all factors that affect the brain function, which I will address in a moment. But who do you think is responsible for making the changes for a healthier lifestyle? Is it the government?
No.
Is it the big companies with the sugar-loaded and processed food?
Yes.
Or is it us, the consumer, in charge of our own bodies? How about all of these above? I bet you didn't think that. All of them, we all are. Nutrition has always been of great interest to me. It started in my early 20s when I was studying at the Cosmetology School of Canada in Edmonton. We learned a lot more than just making pretty faces, doing facials and manicures and pedicures. We we learned how food and vitamins affect our hair, our skin, and overall body health in so many different ways. Later on, during our 25 years in the printing business, I worked with a nutritional consultant on course material for nurses, describing, for example, the effects sugar and toxins have on our bodies, and how food can be our medicine. Did you know that children conceived and born in Great Britain during World War II, when sugar was rationed, were less likely to develop diabetes, or high blood pressure later in life? And yet, sugar science at California UCSF says that 74% of packaged food contain added sugar. Isn't that a concern to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
First thing I told Loretta, just cut out the sugar and you'll do much better. I love what the Mexican government has done with the warning labels.
Yeah.
Excess this, excess that. But it really takes the fun out of eating, doesn't it? How many of you actually pay attention to these labels? Could be better, but I think it's pretty good. Perhaps all of us should put more food without these labels in our shopping carts. I've never seen such a label on a bag of spinach, frozen blueberries, or a can of salmon or sardines. It can be confusing though. High in calories does not always mean bad food. Phil was asking me why I had this bag with cereal. It does say extra calories, but it's very healthy. Just don't eat the whole bag at once. Same with these nuts, unsalted. A handful of nuts every day is very good for the brain too. What do you think processed food does to our bodies and our brain? In the United States, processed foods make up 50 to 70% of the diet, the highest consumption rate in the world. The ultra-processed food, such as my no longer favorite York ham, loaded with chemicals. I still have the bag just to show you, but if you want to see all the ingredients in there, these are all things, you know. What about soft drinks? Artificial sweeteners, high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, high sodium based foods. Chris is listening. These are the worst for both brain and heart. Other favorites, if you can't see them, your mouth may be watering, but sugar-loaded donuts, muffins, cookies. These are really not very good choices, unless they're homemade and without sugar. There are plenty of safe sugar substitutes. And for that, I have prepared a list for you with a whole list of substitutes. You can take that home. There are exceptions of processed food. Frozen salmon, made in Chile, very good. Flaxseed, it's processed, but it's good. And of course, frozen vegetable, they cut up so they processed. But this is all good. Just pay attention to the label. It's the ultra-processed food that we need to be aware of. And if you read the label and you could stick to one ingredient only, that would be the best. It's interesting that dementia is not present or is rare in several places in the world. Lack of contact with the outside world and an active lifestyle could play a role in why the indigenous groups in the remote Amazon of Bolivia have some of the lowest rates of dementia in the world. Some of you may have heard of the blue zones. Anybody is familiar with the blue zone? That's pretty good. Many residents living in the original Blue Zones areas share 9 healthy lifestyle habits, helping them live longer, healthier lives. In the majority of these reasons, people use a plant-based diet, which is the most recommended. But if you like your egg and your fish, then you would consider the Mediterranean diet, which is also acceptable. Another option is low-carb diet. Some people think, oh, I'm going on keto, but keto long-term is not very good. But it's not our fault that we may not be eating right, is it? Before the 50s, lifestyles in the developed world were so much healthier. Then TV appeared in our homes, and manufacturers seized the opportunity to advertise their product directly to children. It's all about profits. The bad, ultra-processed food are right in front of our face when we enter the supermarket, and again at the checkout counter. It's so much easier to grab a bag of processed food than go into the produce department and reflect on the amount of work we have to do before dinner is on the table. We'll just grab something. It won't be easy to re-educate the world population. How many years did it take to make people understand that smoking can result in serious health issues before the government finally stepped in? Will the same be happening with sugar? Children influenced the parents and the grandparents to give up their tobacco addiction. And today they influence the parents to buy candy. We need to educate the parents as well as the grandparents and hope the children will eventually catch on this time. Just don't bring it into the house. Make these treats a special occasion. On a Sunday, I remember when I was little, after church, only in the summer, my mom would take us for an ice cream. That was special. That was a special treat. Now it's something, we think we have to do every day. During my recent studies with the Wicking University of Tasmania, I learned how risk factors can be detected at a very early age and what steps can be taken to reduce these risks. There are online tools available to measure your own risk factor. So again, that information is on some of the handouts. And there's also some links for self-testing. And if you're interested in receiving some electronic files, you just grab my business card and I will share that with you. You can also enter your name on our contact list and send and write on there a brief note what it is that you would like to know. So let's take a look at the main factors that can be changed. You in the back, you can probably read this, can you? You can see it. Okay, then I won't go through all of them. But look just at number 1. There's a very clear association between education level and dementia risk. By age 70, 16% of women with less than high school education are expected to develop dementia, compared to 2% of those that are college educated. But it's never too late to learn, even if you're already past 60. There's some items on this list that are pretty obvious: hearing loss, hypertension, obesity, smoking, depression. Let's talk about social isolation. Based on 15-year study, a follow-up of dementia patients, loneliness was linked to nearly 60% increased risk of all-cause dementia. It's important to stay connected. More happy hours. Stay connected with family and friends. Find meaning or purpose in life. Spend more time in LCS and take a course. And socialize. Another one, number 10, is toxins. We need to pay attention to that as well. Think of mercury in tuna. I like my tuna, but I just go a little bit slower on that. Microplastics is huge. Air pollution. These all increase the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. High level of cholesterol can form plaque in the arteries walls, which can narrow or block them, which reduces blood flow and increases the risk of stroke, which damages the brain cells, leading to dementia. Nutrition is one of the main issues that address many of the other risks. And besides focusing on food, consider vitamin B6 and 12 deficiencies, which can also be associated with dementia. There are actually more than 12 factors that are on this list. Alcohol, so happy hour with maybe less alcohol. You know, in Canada they suggest 1 alcoholic drink per week. Are you kidding? That's not enough. Are you getting enough sleep? 8 hours a day is really recommended. Stress causes release of cortisol, a hormone that causes memory problems and brain function issues. Dental health, go see your dentist. Unhealthy gut and unhealthy mouth can cause dementia through inflammation in the brain. It's never too late. There we go again. No, it's never too early nor too late to make changes, no matter what age you are. You may know of someone who has signs of mild cognitive impairment or has been diagnosed with early onset dementia. There's no need to panic or give up hope. Try to live your life to the fullest. And if you follow the suggestions made today, there is hope for you and your loved ones. In many cases, the person themselves may not even realize it, but those around them will notice the changes. Do not ignore any change in behavior, unless you want to be amongst the 1/3 of the people undiagnosed. Yes. I remember the words of my friend in Canada back in 2010 when I had complained about my husband that he was so forgetful. I blamed it on laziness. I blamed it on codependence. He just thought that I should have everything. And she kept saying, Elly, he cannot help it. But I wouldn't listen. If I had paid attention then, I think things may have been different. It's hard to say. If you have any concern at all, go see a doctor and ask them to address the entire list of the risk factors, which are also at the table. But don't let them tell you to wait 6 months and come back and see why you do your next test. 6 months is a long time. You need to address the issue right now. And if you're ashamed to speak with anybody about your concerns, you could do a simple self-test online. So let's say you notice some cognitive decline. Now is the time to address all those risk factors and get serious about it. Ask support from friends and family. Connect with others who are in the same situation. It has been proven that adults who take part in a day program live at home much longer. Here at Lakeside, under the umbrella of Lakeside Daybreak Dementia Support, a day activity facility for people with dementia has been developed. And actually Manuel is right here. And there's flyers there too. The Daybreak program is a non-institutional, family-like setting with caring, experienced people and fun activities. And it's open to anyone. If you have a talent in art, crafts, music, or other stimulating activities, you may be interested in volunteering, maybe 1 day a week or just a few hours. Let's talking about dementia. People are not always comfortable sharing their feelings, their thoughts, their fears or hope for the future, or provide instructions to caregivers on how to handle their situation. Maybe they don't want to admit that there is a memory issue. But it's so important that it's brought out in the open. A diagnosis of dementia can be very lonely. For this, a program was developed to provide an opportunity to those who have been diagnosed with memory decline, MCI, or early onset dementia. These are able to share their thoughts in a small supportive group setting. They're given a voice and a sense of being part of something bigger. A chance to belong during a time when one feels adrift. A program called To Whom I May Concern was founded by Maureen Matthews, who has worked with memory-impaired individuals for over 30 years. She was searching for a way to support and encourage dialogue between individuals with dementia and the people around them. The goal is to create more awareness in our communities and help others understand what it means to deal with memory-related issues. This interactive performance program fosters conversation and understanding and is now used by groups around the USA and Australia and of recently right here at Lakeside. To Whom I May Concern is a format designed to reflect back the words of participants into a script. We recently started our first discussion, and we have some of the participants here. I've been trained as a facilitator for this, and some of you may know Alicia Knox. She is our scribe, and she will do an amazing job. And the performance will take place on April 7th. We have invitations there, and I encourage you to attend. It will be an eye-opener. Did you know that 1/3 of medical professionals are not familiar with dementia? Even our own doctor, when he was doing his diagnosis, he said, I don't really know much about dementia. Here's a website you can... So from then on, I thought, okay, we need to look. They need to be trained. We all need to be trained how to deal with this disease because it's all around us. Some of you may have heard of Tipa Snow. She's the founder of a positive approach to care. She's an amazing teacher who offers training and produces videos for anyone who needs to understand why changes are happening and how those living with memory changes can be supported in a more positive and respectful way. I just recently found a Spanish version, and I think all care homes around here should have access to that, because many care homes have nurses, but not all nurses are familiar and know how to treat people with dementia. Family and friends sometimes behave differently towards a person with dementia, and that's really, really sad. This could be due to fear, negative stereotypes, or worried about saying or doing the wrong thing. We've experienced it ourselves. Some of our own friends, we just basically ignore Ramiro or sit as far away from him as possible, not having to interact. The guys no longer invite him for their weekly breakfast. It was getting a little too risky, they said. Other abandon us altogether once they notice the changes. We're not invited as often as we used to. And I thought we were a pretty fun couple, aren't we? And Ramiro can still be a lot of fun. And all the women adore him.
Yep.
All of you that know Ramiro, isn't he a lot of fun?
Yep.
See, everybody loves Ramiro. It's not contagious. We just need to learn how to react and interact. I have brought some cards. I brought a whole stack because I'd like you to take as many as possible and share them with others who are around people with dementia. I don't know who to give the credit to because I don't remember who introduced me to this. But my friend Joan said, maybe you could make it into a little card. And that's what I did. So it's called How to Be a Light in Someone's Life. Think of the acronym LAMP. L stands for love and laughter. A stands for accomplishments. They like to be given tasks and be complimented on those. Often we think, oh, they can't do anything, so we'll just let them sit in the chair. Music and movement. That's one of the biggest ones. Music. It's amazing. It's the part that's last touched by plaque. Unbelievable. P. Pay attention when you're spending time with a person with memory loss. Put your phone away, unless you're showing pictures of the dogs and the grandkids. That's okay. Just have small talk. Point to the flowers and the birds. In closing, let me ask you this. How many of you have experience with dementia in family, members, or friends, and try to figure out what's going on in their mind? Just a few days ago, I picked him up from the care home and we went for a walk along the Malakon. He stopped by a little bridge and he pointed to me, these boats, they were there and now they're not there. And I think, what is he trying to say? Yeah, they were there, don't you remember? And I said, well, I don't, because my memory is not that good anymore. How's yours? We had a good laugh. We had a good laugh. As difficult as it may be, it's okay to laugh. Not at the person, but with the person. We have no idea what's going on there, up there. After watching a YouTube video called 12 Minutes of Dementia, I think it's called Experience 12 Minutes of Alzheimer's, I started to understand a little bit better. There's not much going on. Ramiro would admit himself, it's empty up here. Or he would say, are you speaking Chinese to me? I guess the words get garbled sometimes. And little by little I started to understand and I learned to be more patient, which is one of the most difficult things for me. Ask his daughter, Marcella, there. It also convinced me that the organization I started to create awareness and offer support is critical. I'm very grateful for my dear friend Loretta, who inspired and encouraged me. Her service will be needed as we enter the final stage. We all need to support each other. I like how Loretta puts it. We're all walking each other home. That's beautiful, Loretta. We all need support. Some of you may be familiar with the support group for spousal caregivers that meets every Tuesday here at 11 o'clock. And we're working on other support groups. Rotary is here, who also offers support online. There is help available at Lakeside. If you're looking for a place where your elderly parent or a family member need to stay, Tanya is here, who's starting a business helping you find that. We need to offer support to both caregivers and to those who have lost their mind, all the way through. Believe me, unless you are a caregiver, you have no idea what it means. It can have a devastating impact on people, their families, relationships, and society. We have to make changes for our own future and that of our families, our children, and our grandchildren. We cannot allow the numbers to continue to increase this rapidly. So please, share your information with others, with your kids. This is critical. And it's not a fear tactic. I invite you to visit our Facebook page where we post regular helpful information. And when you do, please share, like and share. Our organization, Lakeside Daybreak, has a number of other projects in the making to support those living with dementia and their family, and you will hear more from us. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a family? Well, it takes our lakeside villagers to raise awareness about dementia and make them dementia-inclusive communities. If you're interested in being part of our organization, please leave your name and your contact information at the table and meet some of our volunteers. Or perhaps you'd like to support us with a donation. I am going to end with a poem. It's called Forget Them Not. Remember their face, their voice, and their laugh. Remember their smile and the jokes that you shared. Remember their love when they can no longer remember yours. The disease may hide the person underneath, but there's still a person in there who needs love and attention. Remember the dementia patient is not giving you a hard time. It's the dementia patient who is having a hard time. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding that something is what it is, and that there's got to be a way through it. Dementia is about the present and the struggle, the scrappy blonde, the fight to live with the disease. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We have about 10 minutes for question and answer. If you've got a question, raise your hand and please wait for the mic so everyone can hear. If you could stand up too, that would help.
Unless I missed it, I didn't hear any or get any idea of any distinction between the genders as to susceptibility or the lifetime effects, all that kind of stuff. Did I miss it?
No, I don't really go into that too much. You know, there are certain percentages that more women may develop dementia, but that could be for a variety of reasons. So, Curly,
Just to say something about that. Wait.
just wait.
Hang on, we had someone with their hand up before we...
Just wait until you got the mic.
Sorry about the thing. Oh, you want... Okay.
Curly.
You're being given the mic. There you go.
I just wanted to say they've always said that the more women have dementia than men. There's two things. Number one, women tend to live longer than men. And number two, I heard on television just last night that they're now saying that no, it's more equal. So,
Yeah, you know, you heard me talk about education level. In the earlier days, women didn't necessarily get the education that most men did, and that may play a factor, may have a factor as well.
Hello, my name is Elly Contreras. My partner is John Beachy. A year ago, he got an emergency prostate surgery. Because of different side effects, anesthesia, he was diagnosed with dementia, vascular dementia. The best medical treatment was at the Federal Health System, IMSS. And he has improved tremendously. One is that he uses a CPAP, more oxygen to the brain. And he was prescribed memantina. It has helped so much. He remembers better than me now. And so it has been denominated the long goodbye. It's a very difficult situation, but so far he's doing great.
We talked about...
Also, I was told in a hospital by doctors, most people with highly education are prevented for dementia.
I've got a question here. Hopefully we don't get the feedback. All right. Okay.
I wanted you to make clear, or if I heard this right, that you said vitamin B 6 and 12
1, 6, and 12.
are not good for you.
Yes, you need them. You need
They
them.
are.
But, you know, if you
good.
can get them in food, that's always best. Always focus on your vitamins. But deficiencies, people that have deficiencies may develop.
Elly, I have a question over here. The University of Guadalajara opened a few years ago an expanded footprint here lakeside, and they started with a gerontology program, I understand, for nurses. Is your group connecting with them, and can we expect that dementia and the gerontology education that's coming here is going to have an impact in the short term?
We're working on a number of programs. I'm also working in collaboration with the Institut International on the poetry program. And because so far I've been doing most of this by myself, I have a huge list of things that I want to do, but that's very interesting information. We want to get, I'm studying right now how to create dementia-friendly or inclusive communities. And that's where we would like government and organizations such as that included to help us with that. So, yeah, I like to, that's great, yeah. We're just at the beginning stage, Phil.
Okay, we got...
I have some friends whose spouses have dementia, and one is in the early stages. Now, in my experiences, I've seen a number of times where, I'll be very blunt about it, I see the person with dementia being abused, and in the relationship, and impatience, it goes beyond just impatience and turns into some nastiness. So my question is, are there initiatives underway to train people who are partners of other people or close family members as to how to treat their loved ones?
That's another very important part, and that's what I mentioned earlier. The TIPA snow, I think if everybody learns about TIPA snow, how to deal with the situation, because it's a misunderstanding. They don't know why this person is like that. So I heard too, like, what's the matter with you? Not, you know, from somebody else. And it's because they don't understand what's going on. Let them watch that video, the Experience 12 Minutes Alzheimer's. They may take a totally different approach. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Elly, thank you for being in my life, and thank you for being here. She is a dynamo. This is going to happen. You know, I focus on end-of-life care, and right now half of the people in long-term care settings have dementia, and about 75% of people with dementia do die in long-term care. And what can you talk about caregivers and people who are beginning to lose memory doing advanced care planning for the long term?
Yes, we talk about that with our group, with our To My Make Concern group, to address that and have all the plans in place. And you know, your audience 2 weeks ago was just amazing. We need to talk more about this. We're gonna die, Loretta told me. We're all gonna die. So we might as well plan for it, because what we may have planned across the border up north may not work here. We need to know, and I encourage you, many of you may have taken Loretta's course already, End of Life. And that's an eye-opener, and she's amazing, helping you plan for the end, because it's going to happen. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Everyone here? Well, I can hear the word, but I can't see the arm. Oh, we've got one.
Hi. Have you seen the movie The Father?
Yes. I've seen every movie, I think.
Did you think that was fairly realistic?
I would say so, but you know, we need to remember that there's so many different variations.
Right.
So many, like one person, there's not a stamp, okay, this is type number 1, number 2. It's every person is different, every situation is different, every relationship is different. If the relationship is loving, it will make it a lot easier too. If it's little, yeah, or how's the family, that it's there more or less, yeah. I can't really say, for some people it may have been more realistic than for myself, everybody's.
Well, the issue of time came up in the movie, and I wonder if you could explain that in terms of how the person with dementia perceives time.
They don't. Most of them don't. Again, I know of some people that have no problem with certain things, recognizing people, but, or they may even have a clock or a watch, and they will know. So again, that's something that, there are so many different situations. Yeah.
Thank you.
But like in my case, I know, no, don't even know where we live, whatever. But he knows my name.
Anyway, we have two more questions.
Okay. Hi.
Wouldn't it help?
I'm here visiting someone I've known for 40 years who is at the onset of dementia. What is happening with medication in terms of the advancement of treating dementia?
I prefer not to talk too much about medication because I've always been very much into natural ways, but at a certain point you may have to refer to that, and that's really the best thing to speak with the doctor. But always when a doctor does give you medication, to read up on it. And sometimes a person goes to one doctor and they give him something, and then they go to another doctor, give them something else. And the mix of the two different medications could be very, very dangerous. So I'm not a doctor, I'm...
One last question.
Last one, okay. I have to mention something because I was on the other side because my wife died, and one thing which was always very important: never lose your sense of humor.
Yeah.
Because when I played really stupid, and she called me stupid, that was the highlight of the day.